All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Slob on the Pod. This is episode, I believe, 12, if I'm not mistaken. I think I got this right. Yeah, I know, right?
That many already?
Yeah.
God, damn.
And this is my boy. This is Marky Mark from the Fun Bunch. No, just kidding. This is Mark Sanchez. Mark Dirty Sanchez is my boy. I actually met Mark. Funny story. I met Mark doing another podcast. It was that time you guys came over. You guys all came down for Thanksgiving vacation.
You're right. I remember that.
You, Lex, everybody. It was like a huge family reunion. It was around Thanksgiving time a couple years back. And we were doing a podcast, me and Eric. We were doing Stoked and Stroked. And you guys came in right when we finished. And we all just pre-gamed and then we all went out.
And went out. That's when we got properly 12'd.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, I got my boy Mark. And a lot of you guys are probably wondering, who the fuck is this guy? Why do you have him on the show? And I'll tell you why. Because Mark right here, he is I guess you would say an animation artist?
Yeah, animation, illustrator, storyteller, I guess.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to become.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed, watching your stories, I see you're going to UCLA, right?
Yeah, UCLA right now.
And what are you studying over there?
So I'm at UCLA right now, and I'm in their Masters of Fine Arts. So I'm not in the art program, which is weird because you think animation would be in the art program. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the film school, because the film school is they are the ones that developed this animation program that's basically on par with USC and Cal Arts, but it's for master students.
Yeah.
So it's really cool because we're within the film school, so we're more honing in on storytelling skills, so being able to tell a story, and then incorporating if you come in with some art background, you have that to kind of help you, push your what you want to do and your stories you want to tell.
Yeah. Well, let's pump our brakes a little bit. Let's get back to the very beginning. So you're from Yuma, Arizona, correct?
Yep, Yuma, Arizona, born and raised, 1994.
Born and raised, went to high school here and everything?
Yep, went to Cibola High School, so I'm a Raider, so that was fun. And then, left, went to UofA, became a Wildcat, which was really awesome. I love being at UofA.
Is it a party school like everyone says?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Compared to UCLA, in the Cal schools, I've noticed Arizona's way more intense when it comes to partying.
Oh, I bet.
Just from experience and just being over at UCLA, it's not as crazy as Arizona, and I love that about Arizona.
How long were you there? 4 years?
So I should have done 4 years, but I did a victory lap.
Oh,
with my boys.
Super senior.
With my boys, Licks and Oscar and all of them. So it was a lot of fun. That extra year was kind of I think it was very beneficial for me, especially for the stories I want to tell and kind of what I'm trying to do in the industry. Mm-hmm. So I think it was helpful. My mom and dad were probably why are you there for another year? I'm I got the money though.
Yeah.
So scholarships, obviously they help pay for it. So I'm very thankful and very blessed to have had that.
So going back, when would you say this whole, I guess, artist came out in you? Was it a middle school? Was it have you been drawing since you were a little kid? High school? Just what happened?
So it's actually funny. The storyboard that I turned into UCLA. So to get into this program, you obviously have to turn in 2 letters or 2 essays, one directly to UCLA and then one directly to the program. And on top of that, you also have to pitch a story you want to tell.
Yeah.
So for me, I was what am I going to do? I've been here. I was back in Yuma for about 2 years. I was teaching high school over at Yuma High, world history, art, and then I was the football coach, which was awesome. I love my students. And I was trying to think what resonates with me that could resonate with people or individuals that would like to, be artists as well.
Yeah.
And I remember vividly when I was younger, my mom took us to church. And I was that kid that just could not stay still. I had to be moving constantly. I still am the same way.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah. So,
church is the worst place too to take a kid like that.
Yeah. And so I was always freaking out, trying to do stuff and just moving around. And I remember one time, Dr. Samudio, if many of you people don't know who he is, he's a wonderful doctor. He lives here in Yuma and he has a church as well. And he works out of, I think, Algodones. So he originally was going to this church. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It was downtown. It's actually where our town hall or city hall is at now. So they bulldozed it down and built city hall over it.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's one story about that. So he was drawing on his hand behind me. And I just popped my head and I saw this guy with a bald head just drawing away on his hand. I was what is he doing? And so I looked and he started drawing all these creatures and vivid there's just cool little things they weren't crazy drawings, but they were just interesting. I was whoa.
And on his hand too.
Yeah, on his hand.
All canvases, just use a hand.
So I was oh, that's cool. And then from there, it's just that's where I kind of sparked my interest to start drawing. And then obviously being a kid of the late 90s, early 2000s, like we're exposed to like a bunch of shows, you know, on the
When were you
TV.
born?
1994.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
right
yeah.
around.
Yeah, so like late 90s, early 20s.
90s babies.
Yeah,
Right here,
90s.
up top.
babies. So like you're exposed to so many. This is when like animation was starting to become like a very big thing on TV. So we were exposed to a lot of that, and all that stuff just kind of grew on me, especially like going through so many things when I was younger. It kind of helped me like see like, oh, like all these characters go through certain things. Like this is cool. Like I want to draw these characters. And at first it was more like these characters are cool. I want to draw them. Like I was very into Naruto. Love drawing characters from Naruto.
You like anime?
Oh,
I can't get
love,
into it, dude.
It's
so weird.
I know. It's a very weird animation genre, but it's really cool once you like understand it and kind of pick it up.
I can see like the art side of it would be dope.
Yeah.
But like watching the actual like thing, like I can't get into it.
Yeah.
I'm not even into Dragon Ball Z.
What?
I know,
like,
I'm sorry.
That's definitely like a 90s thing. Like that's, I don't know. But yeah, so like basically from there I just started drawing and just, you know, I went to Cibola and I had great teachers like Miss Brown and Miss Hendricks, and they like helped me push like what I wanted to do.
And shout out to James Brown and Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, so like, you know, obviously like having that support at school like helped me like kind of gain what I wanted to be, or gauge what I wanted to be, which was really cool. And that's just kind of like where the path went, and then I just started drawing and just doing what I wanted to do.
So fast forward to high school, were you in any like special clubs or anything like that brought this out?
So no, I actually wasn't involved in any like art clubs. Like I'd show up to art club only when I needed to finish projects. I was kind of like that because I played sports.
Yeah.
So I played football. I did wrestling for 2 years, and then I did track all throughout college.
Big macho man.
Kind of. All throughout high school. And I wasn't the best at these sports, but like I had the work ethic, so that helped. So like I wasn't talented, but I just had work ethic, which I think beats talent any day.
Definitely.
And, you know, I never was like, oh, I'm an art kid. No, I like kind of like had it on the down low, really down low. Like no one knew that like I did that stuff. Yeah. And it's funny because I remember being in middle school and drawing anime and stuff. I was like, man, if I go into high school drawing anime and this stuff, people are gonna punk me. Yeah. People are gonna think I'm like the weird kid with the ears and the foxtail running around campus. Yeah. So I
doing backflips.
Yeah, exactly. So I totally did a 180. I started doing graffiti because I always loved graffiti. Graffiti was just like super cool. Everyone liked it. People would be like, "Yo, can you tag my back?" I was like, "Yeah, I got you."
Oh, dude, that's such a humor thing.
Yeah. Or they'd be like, "Hey, can you tag on my shoes?" And because I used to like design shoes or like paint shoes, so I would do that for people. And just from there, like I kind of hit it. And then, you know, once we became seniors, I was like, I don't care. Like I'm just gonna do this. So I remember.
You came out the closet?
Yeah, basically. For art.
For art. You came out the art closet?
Yeah, the art closet. So I remember we had like Mr. Raider. It was like this is a men's talent show competition. And for my like talent, I basically pretended I was drawing Miss Dombey. If anyone knows who Miss Dombey is, she was a really amazing principal that was a principal for a long time over at Cibola. So I had asked her to be part of my act. I was like, hey, can I draw you on stage? And just basically try to like flex, like, look, I can draw you really quick, like in front of an audience. So we ended up doing that. And when she was on stage, the whole plan was to, you know, draw her as fast as I can. But my side plan was that we were going to shut off the lights. She had no clue about this. I'd actually been working on a painting of her, like an actual painting
I see
of
where
her.
this is going.
Yeah, of this huge, like 5'3" painting of her and Tim Tebow, because she was a big fan of Tim Tebow.
Serious?
And that was when like Tim Tebow was like,
do you have a
the
picture
hot
of this
thing.
still?
I do. It's on my Instagram.
All right. I'll put it up right here.
Yeah, we'll find it. But so basically, I like the lights shut down. I could just hear, Marquitos, what are you doing? And I'm like, Miss Tommy, chill, don't worry, I got this.
Just play along.
Yeah, just play along.
Shut up.
And so my cousin and I believe it was Nikki Dahl, they were head of like student council during that time period. They like sneak up behind us with this giant like canvas, and it's covered. No one can see what it is. And basically, I'm like, Miss Dombey, you gotta open it. It's your gift. And she's like, wait, what? So then she like rips it apart and she starts like laughing and crying because it's like Tim Tebow. This is like when Tim Tebow was like the hot-ish. Like everyone loved him because he was just doing so great.
Is it her standing and him like kneeling praying?
No, so it's basically like her like this, like smiling next to him, and he's just smiling back.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's badass.
So I did that, and like everyone freaked out. They thought it was so cool.
They're like, "Whoa, way to go!"
Yeah.
You got a little shit on your nose.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, that was cool. And then from there, it's just like, you know, just kept doing that stuff.
That's dope. And I understand you were a high school teacher at one point, correct?
Yes.
Before you went to UCLA?
Yes, before I went to UCLA.
And was that just something to do to make money in the time? Because I know you did it, and then you went to UCLA.
Yeah. So at first, it was something to just make money because I was coming back from graduating from the University of Arizona. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Luckily, I had a great mentor who was a photographer over at in Tucson, but he worked a lot with the UofA department because he graduated from the photojournalism department over at UofA, and I got to meet him and basically talked to him. He's like, my plan was originally to become an officer in the military, and I had gone and like,
wait, you?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
What?
So I was wanting to do that because I saw all my friends doing it.
Alex.
And they were they're well off. You know, they were gonna have like money. They were gonna be able to travel. I was like, maybe I should do this. Maybe this is a career route, which I should have done. Well, not that I should have done, but like during that time period, like maybe I should take this route. And he's like, Mark, why are you gonna do something when you have so much talent? You just need to take some time off and just work on it and develop it more.
Damn, I wish I had someone like that.
And get yourself into a position where you can like show your stuff and be like, hey, come here and like work here, basically.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I listened to him. Came back to Yuma. I didn't know what I was gonna do. My mom, who happens to be a counselor, or was a counselor at Cibola for a long time. Now she's at San Luis being a counselor. She's like, hey, they need teachers here in Yuma. Like, why don't you just do a emergency certificate? And I was like, okay, I'll do that, just to make some money and do my thing. And so I started teaching over at Yuma High. The first year I taught art and world history. It was a lot of fun. Very hard at first because these kids are crazy. I love them, but they are crazy, man. Handling freshmen in high school, like I was a teacher, so like I think I do totally agree that teachers deserve a raise, especially now with this whole Rona thing going on. Like, they have to do it online and just wrangle these kids in. So it was just a really tough year because came in with no knowledge of teaching, kind of was like makeshifting my own things. They would give us like a program and we'd be like, okay, we got to follow the curriculum kind of.
Yeah.
But we didn't really have like worksheets or anything built. So I was just going in blind. Like I'm just going to try my best, see what I can do. It was really hard, but it was really awesome because I got the opportunity to coach while being a teacher.
You were a football coach,
right? I was
a
football coach, yes, under Kurt Weber, which was a lot of fun. He basically opened a door for me, and I loved coaching, like being able to work with, young men, kind of coming from the similar background as me. Some of these kids, their parents work nonstop, come from single households, and it was really cool to just like engage with these kids and kind of be like, yo, you can. Let's go lift or let's go play football. Like let's see what you can do with this stuff.
Yeah, I remember I went to what was it, 24-hour flex or something? That gym? And I remember that morning. I saw you and you had a little Jay Noah in there with you. And you had a few kids and I was like, oh shit, like that's cool. Like he's taking kids that obviously he sees that I'm guessing really really want this. Mm-hmm. So he, the extra time to put in and they're in the gym with you. That was badass.
Yeah, no, and those boys, like I appreciate them so much. Like he's your cousin, right?
Or, he's just a real close friend.
Okay. Yeah. So like, Jay Noah.
His mom grew up with my mom.
Okay, cool. Like, so yeah, obviously those kids, like, it was really cool working with them. Just like being able to like, give them wisdom, even though like I'm kind of like a big goofball. Like at the same time, it was like kind of fun to like teach them stuff that obviously helps. Like, I wish I would have had a coach. Like, I loved my coaches in high school, but like to have a coach that like would take the time to like sit with you and like work with you and like explain stuff, why this works better and why it doesn't. That was like really beneficial. That would have been really beneficial to, I think, me and my friends while we were in high school. So like, I was like, I'm going to take the next step just because like, I don't have anything to do in Yuma because I was like bored. Like, I'm just going to work and just like grind it out and try to teach these kids like what they need to know when it comes to stuff like that.
I always thought being a teacher was like the coolest thing ever. Like even now, like I know, I wish I could do like be a sub or something.
Oh.
Just, I don't want to be a full-on teacher because I can't do like, I choke a kid out, dude. I'm telling you, dude. I see these little shits, dude. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I can't imagine being a teacher and telling them, like, hey, everyone sit down, calm down. Like, especially, I know I was a little shit in high school. Mm-hmm. So, if there was of me in classrooms, like, dude, like, I'd go to jail. Dude, I'd fight a kid. I'm sorry.
I remember one time I had to kick this girl out of my class. It was like the last year, first semester, and she was a super nice girl, but for some reason she was ticked off that day, and it was my sixth period. So my sixth period was one of the rowdiest like periods, just because it's the end of the day, everyone wants to go.
Probably Shark Week. Probably.
Yeah. And I was just like, "Yo, you need to stop! Like, quit acting like this." And she just went off on me. I was like, "Get out! Like, I'm not gonna deal with this." Kicked her out,
that's smart.
And it was just like, because I was about to like, oh my gosh, like, oh, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, it's funny because you being a teacher, after hanging out with you and like partying with you and stuff. It made me realize, like, holy shit, like, teachers are just like us. Because, growing up, you think, like, oh, all they do is come teach stuff, probably stay after school a little bit, grade papers, go home, maybe grade some papers, and then go to bed. Like, you don't think that teachers party and go out and stuff.
Yeah, or go have fun.
Yeah, and now that I'm getting older, I have friends that I graduated with and like people like you that are teachers, and I'm like, I know you. Like, you're.
I know what you're on to.
I know what you do. Yeah, like, and it's funny because I think teachers are looked as leaders. Like some people might want to be like you. But it's like you're not pure. You're not a legit teacher.
Whoa, yeah. I did my job.
Yeah. Did you have fun doing it?
Oh yeah, I loved it. Last year was probably my favorite year.
When you said bye to him.
Well, that was the hardest. I remember there was a group of kids that would come into the gym all the time because I used to open up like after school weight room, and then I had 2 girls who would do like the football management stuff. So like. They would like type stuff together, like put together like booklets for us. They would
like plays and shit.
Yeah, plays for us,
sick.
and like they would put together the workout books. They would build stuff. Like I would teach them how to build stuff like on the computer and then like in by hand, so like making posters and stuff like that. And they would take all the notes down for like the boys and stuff. And I remember when I hadn't got accepted into UCLA yet, but like it was just in case something did happen, which ended up happening. I remember writing letters to these. I think it was 10 individuals, 10 kids. So I wrote letters to them, and I gave it to each one of them. Genoa happens to be one of them. And I invited them all into class during my planning period. So, like, 3rd period, it's, like, my planning period. So I would take naps in there or just, like, chill.
Oh, and work that's on what stuff. They do.
Yeah, that was my nap time.
I'm grading papers.
Or grade papers, yeah, if I needed to. And I basically handed them these notes, and I remember just, like, breaking down because it was, like, one of the hardest things to do because, like, I knew that my job wasn't secure because I was, what's it called, emergency certified. So technically, I'm not hired on for next year unless they need me, like they need a teacher.
Okay.
So I actually didn't get hired back. So that was like really hard for me at first. But
then it all kind of worked out, right?
Yeah, everything works out how it's supposed to be. So like I remember just handing them those letters, and like some of the students broke down. Some of them were trying to act tough and not break down. But it was like really hard because I broke down and I was like, damn, this sucks.
Yeah,
because I knew like if I got into the program, I wouldn't be back to like work with them, which sucked.
But yeah, I saw you were there for was it homecoming game?
Yeah.
Right? You came back home for that? Yeah, dude, that was so cool. I saw that and I was like, oh, like I'm pretty sure it was another emotional time probably.
Yeah, because a lot of like the seniors, it was their last game, so they were like, coach, this is our last game.
Like,
they were crying. Yeah, so yeah, it was rough because I was there for like 5 games before heading up to UCLA because UCLA is on the quarter system, so it starts later than every other college.
Oh,
so,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we started like I went up September 21st. So I was there I was here in Yuma for about a month while like high school was going on.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh shit. And fuck, I lost my train of thought. I always do this.
It's okay. It happens.
It's your fucking mustache. I'm like looking at him like, how does he do that?
Dude, this took forever.
Mine was doing that for a while, and I just like because mine either I can either go out or it starts to go down.
Oh, it starts doing like a tiflas?
Yeah, because it stops right here. It stops right here.
That sucks.
Yeah,
that's how mine was.
I told Saida, I was like, I just want to shave and just leave this. She's like, you're gonna be like that, that Mexican character. You know what I'm talking about?
Tiflas, yeah.
Yeah. And he has that, and I was like, what are you talking about? I had no idea. And she showed me. Yeah, and I was like, I want to do that.
I know.
I was like, Halloween. Yeah, but no, your fucking thing's getting me all. Actually, you know what? Real quick, I got to do this before I forget. I got you something.
What'd you get me?
I did. Because you got a dope ass mustache, and I think you win dope mustache of the award on the show for this year. So.
Oh, let me see this.
It's a little heavy. Careful.
I can tell. Jesus. Swear to God, if there's something.
I got him.
Yo, I haven't done this in forever.
Mark just got ice, guys, for you guys that are just listening.
I gotta kill this now, or what?
Yeah.
It's been forever.
You can do it sitting down. You don't have to take a knee.
But taking a knee.
Right.
Here. I'll do it standing up.
He is chugging the ice, dude. He's doing this like he. That's what's up. I'm gonna play that song when he's doing it. It's so cold, huh?
Drink it.
You can burp.
It used to be a lot easier in college.
Dan, you getting old?
It is.
Look at you.
Because we aren't the same as we used to be.
That is true.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, going back to high school. I know like the real you and stuff. Like you're a really outgoing partying guy. Were you like the cool teacher in high school? In school?
I wouldn't consider myself the cool teacher. You have to ask my students.
But I mean, you were the youngest, I'm assuming, right?
I think It was me.
No, yeah.
Sorry. It was me and another one of my colleagues who happened to go to the University of Arizona too. So me and her were like the youngest, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I just showed up later because I did the extra year over at UofA. So yeah. So, yeah, technically I was the youngest.
Yeah.
At UMA High, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was it tough, like separating? Obviously, like, you know, they're like. I mean, I'm pretty sure you came in being like, oh, he's the cool teacher. We're gonna get away with a lot of stuff, maybe. And you had to kind of like flip that switch where you're like, no, like I can be a cool dude, but I can also be like a hard ass.
Oh yeah, no.
Did you have to do that sometimes?
Yeah, a lot. I kind of like toned it down like towards the end of the year, just because like it was the end of the year and like I knew which students were gonna pass and which students I needed to get on. Like I remember one student. Oh man, I was so mad at him. He, I was giving them a chance to like bring up like one of their test grades, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll take the test." So I was like, "Okay, are you ready?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm ready." So I gave it to him, and he turned it back in like in 20 minutes. I'm like, "Are you sure you studied?" He's like, "Yeah." So I looked at it, and I'm like, "Yo, you didn't even study. Like this is all wrong. Like you didn't do anything basically."
That's like me.
Yeah. And so like I took it. I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna give you another one." I ripped it because I was like, "I'm gonna give you another one." I ripped it, threw it away, and he got butthurt. He's just like, "No, forget this. I'm not taking the test anymore. Whatever. I'm leaving." So this was like at the end of the year. So I was like, I need you to pass. Like, it's not that I need you to pass. I want you to pass.
Yeah, of course.
To see that people care.
Yeah.
So I remember I was like, no, you're coming after school. I don't care how long I have to stay here. I'll stay here for 3 hours because other students were coming too to like retake tests. And so he's like, nah, I ain't coming. So when, you know, the end of the school came, I was like, I called him and he's like, didn't show up. And then luckily Jay Noah was there. I was like, Jay. He's like, what's up, Mr. Sanchez? I was like, go find so-and-so.
Yeah.
And so he went, brought him up. He's all butthurt, like, I will stay here as long as it takes. This kid took his sweet time, was sitting there. He was studying, and he had his mom go bring him Jack in a Box. Or bring him Jack in a Box. So, like, I'm, like, here, like, trying to like, grade stuff, make sure students are doing well. This kid's, like, talking up the entire time, waiting for his Jack in a Box to come. And then finally, he started studying. I was, like, showing him what he needed to do. And then finally, we retook the test. Passed barely. But he passed. So that's all that matters.
C's get degrees, people.
Yeah. And honestly, he's one of my favorite kids because he actually invited me to go to like his Yuma does this really great program within the juvenile detention system where it's like Hands for Hope. I can't remember exactly what the name it is, but basically kids that have like either like gotten involved in stuff or like stupid stuff too that they shouldn't have they were just there basically.
Oh, it's like
and like they get caught up. Not trouble, but like kids that got caught up in like wrong places at the wrong time.
Got it.
Like nothing crazy. Like they just go through this so they don't have to like deal with certain things. It's like go through this program. Excuse me. Jesus, that ice.
That's
like
good.
go through this program. Go through this program and you'll be fine. Basically, like you'll be able to like, don't worry about it. It's just kind of like teaching you a lesson. So it was really cool because like, I got to go see him graduate from this program and like he was super hyped. Like he was happy to be done with it and he like even threw a shout out to me like while I was there in the crowd, which was like really cool because like to me as a teacher that's like really important to like see your kids develop, even though like sometimes they can be a little bit of a douchebag. Yeah,
and that's the thing too is like I think back when I was in high school and there was those teachers that you can tell there's those teachers that are like just fucking like just come to class and be here and then leave so I can get paid, and you got those teachers that are like, okay, like after class you're gonna sit down with me, and like you see those really like those teachers that are really trying to get them to pass. And that's the thing it's hard about high school is like when like you're like that kid, you know, he's like, nah, fuck that, I'm not gonna take this. It's like you can't just be like, all right, fine, you're gonna get a 0. Like you can't do that. You're supposed to be like, no, like you're gonna pass this fucking class. And it's just like, and like you said, it's so rewarding at the end. And obviously they see it. They're like, oh, like Mr. Sanchez was a huge impact, and he gives you a little shout out, and like that's got to feel like the fucking world to you.
Oh yeah,
because I mean, at that point you probably changed the kid's life. He
probably probably not, but just a little bit.
Yeah, it's like the butterfly effect. Like that little, that little bit changed his whole like path, and he was like, you know what, I am gonna take it serious. Probably not, but I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see once he graduates, and like after like the little bit, we'll see what happens. But hopefully he does. That's the plan.
So okay, so you graduate high school, and at this point you're already accepted to UofA, right? Correct?
Yes, I think I got accepted. It was so funny. It was actually after our last football game. We were in playoffs, and I remember coming back just super sad because we had just lost our game. And I get home, and there's a letter. Oh, you've been accepted to University of Arizona. I'm like, oh, yeah. So I was all excited. Like, I'm ready to go to college and whatnot.
Dude, funny fact is, like, I applied to 4 colleges and only got accepted to 1.
Which one?
No, fuck no. I think it was, San Bernardino.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because you're from California, I forget.
Yeah.
Yo, the UC system is like a total different beast.
Dude, hell yeah, because there was San Diego State, and then there was UC San Diego, UCSD, and they're like the university, and then San Diego's like the mediocre one. But yeah, the other three I didn't get into. But I was like, I would read them and I'd be like, fuck, dude. And like the first one, I was like, whatever. Like it's just the first one. And the second one and third one was like, dude, am I not gonna get accepted to college? And then that fourth one came and dude, I was like the happy. I didn't even go, but I was the happiest just getting accepted. Yeah, because then at the time I was like, I don't know, like I don't want to put my parents through that. Like and I was like, and then I found out about community college. I was like, I'll just do that. Okay. Like I don't even know if this is what I want to do. So
did you go to you were El Centro, right?
Or I was in IVC, Pure Valley College, yeah. And now I go to AWC. Yeah. Okay, so let's go U of A.
Okay.
How was it? How was the first day, like everything, dude? Because I like a while back, before when I was with my ex, she went to San Diego State, and I remember helping her move in, and you just seen like the little. It was just like when I see like colleges, I see them as like a town for kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they all have their own rules, and like these professors and stuff are supposed to keep them in line, but they don't give a fuck, dude. No. So like, how was it? Because I'm pretty sure that was your first time on your own, away from home with mom and dad.
So my first time, it was fun because like I wasn't much of a partier in high school. Like I partied, but once I got tied down, it was like, no, which sucked. So I couldn't hang out with my boys.
You talking about you had a girlfriend?
I had a girlfriend in high school. Yeah, so that sucked.
They ruined everything.
I mean, it did suck, but it was like a good learning experience.
Yeah.
But then like I realized like, I don't know if I should be. This is smart. But going to U of A, it was crazy because like, in my family, it was like the first kid to like basically go to like a 4-year university without having to go to like military or do anything else, because thankfully I got scholarships, through a lot of scholarships that came from like UMA, like just donor awards, and then, some from the state that got me into U of A. So those were very helpful. It was a lot of fun, dorm life is a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of cool people.
You stayed in the dorms first year?
So I stayed in the dorms for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and the reason why is because I'm an RA. So I became a resident assistant.
That's right. Yeah.
So basically I was like,
oh, you were the dorm killer. Yeah.
I mean, I tried not to be, but like if I needed to do my job, I had to do my job.
Yeah.
So like I did that for 2 years. I stayed in the dorms 1 more year and then I applied. But the first year was definitely like eye-awakening because most of the time, like my mom was always on me and my sister to get our work done. Like basically like, hey, you need to do your homework, do it now. When you go to college, like no one's there to be on your tail. So like if you're not doing anything to keep yourself preoccupied, you end up like getting in trouble, doing stupid stuff. Like as everyone does, in college, you kind of learn from your experiences. So like for me, I was an architect major before I switched to graphic design and illustration. Huh? Yeah. Well, not really. I think the highest math I had to take was trigonometry. I didn't have to go up to calculus. I did have to take physics. Physics sucked. I dreaded physics. But, I went to U of A for architecture originally because that was just what my dad wanted me to do. He was like, there's security there when it comes to money. Yep. And I was like, okay, I might as well do this. Mm-hmm. It was cool. Like, I like studying architecture, but I could never be an architect because such a boring, for me at least, it's very boring, especially like you're just building squares and stuff. And
yeah, I mean, because I think I know a little bit just because I used to watch How I Met Your Mother. Mm-hmm. You ever watch that?
Yeah.
And what's his name was
Ted.
An architect, and I thought it was cool, but when you look at it, it is kind of boring.
It's actually
building buildings, but if you make like those badass buildings,
yeah, but that's like it takes so long to get that to that like area, I guess.
Yeah.
Be like the head architect over like the overall project.
Yeah.
But it's actually cool because like I didn't realize this. Ted, there's an episode of How I Met Your Mother where he becomes a professor and he's lecturing.
Yeah, I remember that.
That lecture hall is at UCLA.
Oh, it is?
So like I visited, like I've seen like the actual like lecture hall where he was like, oh, this is why architecture is great, blah blah blah.
Oh, and all the time because it was based in New York.
Yeah,
but that's cool.
It was like cool. Well, and there's even that scene where he's like running out and like because he was in the wrong lecture hall at first.
Yeah.
And he's running to another like hall. Like that entire scene is all shot at UCLA.
That's badass.
Yeah.
That's actually it's funny because I don't know if you know this, but you watched Bring It On, right? The first one, the very first, the original.
Remember it vaguely.
Well, anyways, for you that have seen Bring It On, so obviously it takes place in high school, but they actually shot that at San Diego State.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it wasn't until I actually went and walked around campus that after I watched the movie, I was like, hey, that looks familiar. And like the arches and just certain things. Mm-hmm. And like, it's funny because they made like office buildings with like classrooms and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's always cool though, just to see like where things were filmed. Cause like recently me and Saito went to LA and I don't know if you watched.
You were there when I was working on stuff though.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm just gonna leave after I left, I was like, Oh, I even told her, I was like, Mark lives in LA. We could have hung out with
It's
him.
all good, bro. I was probably working on some stuff.
I know.
I was
But
probably teaching.
yeah,
so.
we didn't even do much. Friday we went to a Aventura concert.
Okay.
And then the next day, we just did sightseeing. So I took her she had never been at Hollywood, like LA.
Oh, really?
So I took her to like the Dirty Dirty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you take it to Skid Row?
Oh yeah, I had to give her the full effect, dude.
Everything.
Yeah, no, dude. Even it got to the point where like we're walking down the street and they're like, "Hey, take a picture." I'm like, "Side note, you're gonna get a picture and then they're gonna charge you."
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I knew all that, and she's like, "Oh, okay." But I don't know. It was cool, and we got to see. I don't know if you watched You on Netflix.
No, I haven't. You know Oscar, right? He's always telling me, watch You. I'm like, bro, I don't have enough time to watch that.
It's a good show, but it's not like that. Like,
Okay.
If you get around, go for it. But if not, it's whatever.
Okay, cool.
But it's like a Dexter for like the New Year's.
Oh,
like
really?
the year now. Yeah, it's real similar.
Okay.
But anyways, so like the second season shot in LA. So I took me and her watched it together. So I got to take her around and show her like the apartments that he lived in the show.
Oh, that's cool.
The little market that he worked at. So I got to show her all that stuff. So that was cool. I always like going around. And stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting when you see that stuff. Like you're like, oh,
I saw that.
I saw that in the movie.
Yeah. But so okay, so U of A, is that you knew Lex before this, right?
Lex,
Or
yeah,
no?
because he played football with me in high school, but we weren't like boys at that point. We were just like, it's weird.
Acquaintances?
Yeah, more of acquaintances. Like me, Oscar, Julio, all of us. We were like the linemen that like stuck together, and then Herman, and then obviously our other good friend Ryan.
You were a lineman?
Yeah,
Were you big?
I was originally, and then I lost a lot of weight my senior year.
What?
Because I was like, I'm tired of being fat.
Damn, all I know is like jacked like Tarzan.
When I had my hair.
Mark. Yeah, dude, when you had your long hair. I'm gonna put that up.
the luscious hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So we all like hung out together. We were kind of like the middle of like what you consider like the tiers of like what high school is.
Yeah.
So we were like the people that just hung out with everyone. We didn't care who you were.
Mm-hmm.
We hung out with like the nerds, the jocks, the cool kids. We didn't care. We were just like, we're just here to have fun and just meet people.
Yeah.
And that's how we still are. We don't care. We just like, oh, you seem cool. We'll hang out with you and go out with you. Yeah.
You never joined a frat or anything?
Hell no.
Because you're not gay.
It's not,
I always see that. I saw a movie where they're like, "Oh, are you in a frat?" He's like, "No, I'm not gay."
no.
You seem like it. You're like the total like dude, like bro, like.
I hate
mean,
it
look at
'cause-
you, ice. You ice like a champ, dude. Like.
So many people say that, but nah, I was never in a frat. I just didn't want to do it. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't need to like join something to make friends.
Yeah.
Because I'm very outgoing as it is. So I always made friends no matter what.
Did you ever go to frat parties though?
I did my freshman year just because like,
That was-
unfortunately, that's like the only places you can go for parties unless you
you're
know
so
people off campus.
Yeah.
Because like you're not of age yet to go to bars or buy alcohol. So I would every once in a while, and then like after I started like meeting people, it's just like I didn't need to do that because you'd have places to go to.
No, I just watch movies. I never got to experience like the college life. So I see like I always blows my mind because I see movies where like freshmen are going to bars. And I'm like, do they not like card these people? Like,
So
there's certain bars right in that area.
certain bars, but also it's like if you're a girl, you're gonna get in.
Duh.
Like I remember I had some of my good girlfriends. They were soccer players for the U of A, and they would just get fake IDs from like their their elders that were soccer players that were of age to go into bars. They just get their like IDs and just go to bars.
Did you ever have a fake ID?
No, I did not.
No, you waited.
Yeah.
But were you those people that would like go to Mex to party when you were younger?
No, not even. I never
Alright,
even went to
cool.
Mex.
Dude, me same.
Yeah, I was always scared of Mex.
Me
Like,
too.
I'm still scared of Mex.
Me too.
It's
Me
like
too.
it's just like I do not want to mess with the cops over there. Like every time I drive into Mex, I'm just like, I just get so anxious because I'm like, I hope I don't get pulled over because I don't want to have to deal with this crap. It's actually funny because I've had to drive through Mex when I was in Tucson, and every time I would go back because I used to go to an orphanage in Imuris in Sonora. I would go over there to like hang out with kids and just my little brother and little sisters, I call them, to like go work with them and just hang out with them for the day.
What?
So yeah, so I would do that, and I would have to drive. I would take my mom's car instead of my car, because for some reason my car is like, it's been flagged as a drug car. Like my freshman year of college, my mom got pulled over with all my like sweet old tias and like my sweet old like tia nanas, and they're like, "Where are the drugs?" And they're like having them at gunpoint, the dogs everywhere, and they're just like, ah,
What
like,
car do you
freaking out.
have?
The Escape, the Ford Escape.
That's a drug car?
I guess.
They got flagged. as a
Yeah,
drug
they
car.
got flagged, so I never take it to Mex anymore because it's just like I don't want to have to deal with that. And like I remember one of my mentors telling me, if you ever go to Mex, carry 2 wallets. One wallet with your credit cards and like a license or just your credit card and whatever else stuff you need, like the actual important stuff.
Yeah.
And hide that somewhere in your car. And then keep another wallet with like $20 and then you're like license in there. So just in case like the cops are like, hey, do you have any money? Like blah blah blah. I'm like, oh yeah, I only got a 20, but if you want, that's all you.
Mexico tips and tricks right here.
Yeah, exactly. So always carry 2 wallets when you go to Mex.
You know what's funny is when I go, the only time I ever go to Mex is if I'm like super craving tacos real quick. And then if we go to like Telgafo,
Okay, yeah.
or to like Rosarito, or
Basically all the party places.
yeah, pretty much like or we go like to the Baja. So in the times I do go, I don't do that, which I should now. But what I would do is like if I brought cash on me, I'd bring like whatever I brought, I'd have like an extra 100.
Oh, okay.
Because dude, like I would, I'm telling you right now, like if anything, if I ever got pulled over and they're like, look, you're gonna go to jail, and I'm like, look, I slide them 100 because I'm not going to Mexico jail.
Yeah.
I'm so scared.
I'm not going to Mexico.
I'm not going to Mexico jail, dude. Like, it's so scary. It's sketchy. Like, I've heard so many scary stories. Like, I've legit heard people say, like, I'd rather spend a year in American prison than 1 day in a Mexico prison.
Yeah, because they don't care.
Dude, they don't. I've heard that there's no beds. It's just like a cage with like a hole in the ground and they just shit. Dude, it's the worst. So if you go to Mexico, bring 2 wallets.
Yeah, don't.
And some extra cash just in case they get you out.
And don't mess with the cops.
Yeah, dude. Whatever they say, just do it.
Just listen to them.
No, but that's crazy though. I never thought about the 2 wallets. I think that's a good idea. I wish someone would have told me that. Because now I just take extra cash with me. I'm like, oh, just take everything, please.
That's just wisdom being passed down from fellow people.
Generation
After generation. It's funny. The guy that passed it on to me wasn't a frat at UofA. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure frats got drugs and shit.
Yeah.
So I want to get back into UofA because I'm so excited. Like I like I said, like I never had that experience. So when I hear people tell me these stories, I'm like, oh, dude, that's so badass. Like, and I don't think I'll ever have that experience because like I'm in school right now and dude, like I just want to get my associates and just get over with. So I just hear these stories and I'm like, oh, I'll be there one day. I don't know. I'll go have a party or something. I'll go join a party. I don't fucking know. I'm getting too old, dude. What am I doing?
I know. Think about that same thing. I'm just like, I'm too old for this stuff now.
Yeah. So any crazy stories you have in UofA? Anything you want to share? Any STDs you got while you were there?
Oh, you mean the TDs? No, I mean, I remember my freshman year, I got in trouble twice. So I got caught up with beer in like my friend's dorm my first semester.
Yeah, beer. We'll go with beer.
Well, it was beer. I didn't smoke or anything like that.
I just get it, yeah.
And I just remember freaking out. I like ran to my dorm. I was like, crap. Like I freaked out. I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna get in trouble. And then I get the email saying like, oh, you have to go do like community service. You got to pay this fine. I was like, damn it. And this was literally right after I was done making fun of someone who had just got an MIP.
What's that?
So it's like a minor in possession.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like in the state of Arizona or in Tucson, technically, if you have like alcohol in your body, you're technically in possession of like alcohol. So you get in trouble for that. It's a really dumb rule. So I had to go through all that. And then I got in trouble again the last week of school.
Mm-hmm.
Last week of school, I got in trouble. And I remember how the story happened. We had gone to our friend Reed's house, me and the boys.
White guy?
Huh?
White guy?
Yeah, white guy.
Definitely.
And our friend Midnight. And we all rolled to this place, and we just had a great time and everything. And Oscar and everyone was going to leave. And they're like, hey, you sure you don't need a ride back to your place in the dorm? I was like, nah, we're good. We're just going to hang out a little bit longer, do whatever we were doing a little bit more. And then I realized, like, oh, Calvin needs to go home. He's like, he's had it. So we started walking back to the dorms, and like in Tucson, there's the main drag of a street called Speedway. Mm. So like Speedway separates like the school from like all the housing and apartments.
Oh, okay.
So we're walking back, and I just remember because I was Vining this. This is when like Vine was a real big thing.
Oh,
so it was like a Cinco de Mayo party. So like I was like dressed up, like a vaquero. I had like the hat, everything on. Calvin, same thing. He had everything on. And we get to this point, and he's like, Mark, I need to stop. I'm like, wait, what do you mean you need to stop? He's like, I just need to sit down. So I'm like, okay, sit down. So he sits down, and I'm just looking away. And all of a sudden I hear, bleh! I'm like, oh, God damn.
He boofed it.
He boofed. And I was like, son of a bitch. And he's on the ground just laying. I'm like, dude, come on, we got to get to your dorm. He's like, I can't. I literally can't. And I'm just like, oh, my God. And this guy was big. Like, he was like 260, like 6 feet tall. So I'm like, I'm just there. I'm just like, crap, I'm going to have to carry this kid back.
How far were you guys?
Like probably like only a block away.
Oh, so that's still far though.
Like, yeah.
Especially if you're carrying someone.
Yeah, it was pretty far. Like maybe a block and a half to his dorm. So I'm like, okay, I gotta Calvin, get on my back. So put him on, and I'm like, we're walking. And take it. It's like, we're dressed up for Cinco de Mayo. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're walking back to campus. And I'm carrying this big old man on my back.
Yeah. Is it just you two?
Yeah, it's just us.
Oh.
So like, this is pretty suspicious. and you see a bunch of other drunk people just walking around, right?
It's like zombies at night.
Yeah.
Like once it hits like 2 a.m, you just see zombies walking
Like
around.
everyone's just trying to make it back, going to Jack in the Box, Subway, which is right there. And so we're walking, and we get to the stoplight. I'm like, all right, we got this. We got just a little bit longer. And Calvin's like, are we almost there? I'm like, yeah, chill, we're almost there. And he goes, it throws up a little bit more. I'm just like, oh God, it's on my shoulder. I'm just like, oh no.
Oh, dude, that's disgusting.
And so I'm walking across the street. The light turns, and so we start walking. All of a sudden, I see a cop car pass. I'm just like, like some intro, like it just sucked up, like real tight.
When a cop walks by, don't you like want to hold your breath?
Yeah,
I have this weird feeling. I don't know why. When a cop walks by, I'm like, okay, if I don't breathe or like if I close my eyes, like he won't see me.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. It's just like an instant reaction, and so I'm just like, okay, keep walking, make it across. I'm like, all right, we're good. We make it to the Jack in the Box, and I just remember, like, right when we're passing the Jack in the Box, I see the cop car. And I'm just like, this fool's waiting for us. I know it for a fact. And all of a sudden, I just hear whoop whoop. I'm just like, son of a bitch. So the cop car pulls up, and the guy comes out. He's like, so what are you guys doing tonight? I was like, oh, sir, we're just trying to walk back home. And he's like, what about your friend? And Calvin's on the side, just like.
And how old are you guys at this time?
Like 8, 9. I just turned 19. We're both 19.
God, you guys aren't even 20 at least.
Yeah, so we're 19. And I just remember, this is when I learned my lesson, basically. I was like, officer, I had some stuff to drink, blah, blah. And then, like, Calvin was basically dead. Like, we were like, oh, crap. If he doesn't respond, we're going to go downtown. And so, like, Calvin, come on. You got this, man. You got this. And, like, the cops asking all the information, how old are you? Like, what's your name? And, like, we're all able to, like, reciprocate the answers. And all of a sudden he comes to, like, Calvin's just dying. And he's like, he's just, like, dead on the floor. And he's like, sir, what day is it today? And I'm like, bro, if you do not get this right, I'm going to deck you in the face.
You know what's funny is that a cop would ask that? Dude, like, if you were to ask me right now what day it is, sober, like, I mean, drinking a little, I don't even know what day it is.
Well,
like,
dude, it was Cinco de Mayo. We were celebrating the day.
I'd forget, dude. I'm fucked.
So I'm just sitting there like, come on, you got this. I'm like sending him like waves of like behind the cop, like, let's go.
Look at how I'm dressed. Look at me.
It was like, 5, not 10. Yeah. And so he's like, it is May 5th.
Dude, if he said May, I'd be like, all right, you're good to go.
Yeah.
You know what month it is.
I know. Oh, thank God. Anyways, long story short, the guy was like, we obviously know you guys are drunk. We're going to give you tickets. You guys got to go to court and everything, which sucked because we had to come back in the summer to go to court, pay fines, and like do all this other bull crap, which sucked. But it was cool. Cool part of the story that we're throwing the back of the cop cars. So we got to go riding around with the cops for a while.
Were you vining?
Yeah. I was vining. I was like, I'm back in the cop car. Yeah. So he like took us on like a little ride at first, and we just talked for a little bit before we got back to the dorms. So he took us on a ride along. So he just talked and like gave us like, so I'm just like, words of wisdom, basically like, why you guys shouldn't be doing this, why you guys need to be more careful. And like I was listening, Calvin was dead. So I was just like, okay, cool. And like he was super cool. Pulled up to the dorm and was like, are you guys good to get out and everything? I was like, yeah, we're good. He can walk now. I'm like, punch Calvin in the side of the stomach. Like, you can walk, right?
He's like, May 5th. He wakes up, May 5th.
And so we just walked back in the dorm. But I just remember like that night, like we ended up like going to sleep and everything. I just remember calling my parents like, it happened again. I was like,
again?
Yeah. I was like, I wasn't even mad or sad. I was just mad that I disappointed my parents. Because it just like, it would only happen to me, which sucks. So that happened. After that day, I was just like, I'm not drinking until I turn 21. So I literally did not drink for 3 years until I turned 21.
That's cool because I was thinking about it like this guy's like if you guys were like you said he drove you around, you guys were talking, he became cool, you would think like he'd be like, oh, like, you know what, like let's just scratch this, but it's a good thing. I was thinking about it is the fact that because he obviously probably was like, oh, these kids are young, so it's it's good that he gave you guys a ticket and everything, because that first time was like, oh shit, because he could have been cool and been like, let you guys go, but then you would have that mindset like, oh, I can get away with it next time. Yeah, but that's cool. So like fucking shout out to the cops, dude. Cops are cool.
I mean, they're doing their job. Yeah, exactly. Like, literally, they're life changers.
But I mean, it's cool that he got you guys back and everything. But dude, that's crazy though. It's funny because I don't have a story like that to where I've been in the cop car. I mean, I was in the cop car one time, but that's because I was little. Okay. And me and all my friends walked down to the train tracks. And they were like, you don't belong down here. And so they gave us a ride back. Okay. That's like the closest I ever got. But I don't know if I'm good at getting away with things, or I just never did anything that crazy.
I can't.
Yeah, so I don't know. It'd be cool to say that I have like a record, but I don't.
I have a record.
I'm a loser, dude. I don't.
Well, I'm lucky.
I'm a poser.
Because all that stuff got expunged, so like it's not on my record anymore.
Because after so many years, right? After like 3 years of erasers.
Well, the first
right?
one got expunged because of doing like all the stuff. The second one I shouldn't have, but somehow by the grace of God, it just got erased. Because after the second one, it stays there.
You like apply to a job and they're like, "Have you ever been arrested?" You're like, and they pull it up. They're like, "It says nothing here." You're like, "Oh yeah, nothing."
It's funny actually because when I applied to be an RA my first year, I was put on the deferred list. Like with everything, I'm like the second choice. So I didn't get hired to become an RA until the first week before we started school back.
They do a background check.
Well, they have like a server, and it'll be like. It'll have like all your information, like where you're from, like what you did, like kind of how you did on the interviews. Oh, okay. And then they have like a little red marker, which I didn't know about. That
like a red flag?
Yeah, like a red flag letting them know. Letting the people who are hiring you know that like, hey, something's happened in his past where like he's got in trouble. And my CA, which is like the community director, or CD, community director, when she had hired me, like later on, like throughout the year, we were talking, become really close, what's it called, coworkers, because she was obviously my boss. And she was like, yeah, like I was going to hire you at first, but I saw that little red marker and I didn't know if I should have hired you because of that. But she ended up doing it, and she told me, but I ended up doing it, and you honestly have become one of like the best RAs I've ever worked with.
Yeah, and knowing you, like you seem like that person, like you can have shit on your record, but you'd be like, really, you? Like I would never have guessed that would happen. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like one of those things where just wrong time, like wrong place, wrong time. Yeah, so it's crazy because I can see, like I see him, like you're not that crazy.
No, I'm not that crazy.
You're like you're a party dude, but like. Like it's not like I'd let you watch my kids. Is what I'm trying to say.
I'll let you.
Yo, dude, if you let someone watch your kids, that's when you trust someone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then again, dude, like I don't have kids, so
yeah.
Maybe when I have kids, I'll be like, never mind.
I probably won't even have kids by that time, anyways.
All right, so that's UofA. All right, now fucking move us towards UCLA. I'm guessing the last years you were in UofA is when you're applying for UCLA.
So the last years were actually it's kind of weird.
Oh no, my bad, I forgot. Yeah, you went from there and you went back and was a teacher.
Yeah, back to the teacher. So my last 2 years at UofA. So my first senior year was where I started figuring out like, hey, maybe I want to do animation. But then I figured out UofA didn't have an animation program, which sucked. So I stuck with the illustration and graphic design. Focused more on illustration because like I like creating creatures, I like storytelling, like creating worlds basically. And while I was there, I was having all these adventures, crazy misadventures with my crew at the lunchbox, Lix, Eric's younger brother. Mm-hmm. Like we would just, I don't know, like my brain works this way. Like something would happen. For example, let's say. I actually have a story where me and Lix, and I actually pitched this as a story over at UCLA for like a short pilot for this show that I want to create. And basically, one night, this was like the Villanueva versus U of A game. It was like the 16.
What sport is this?
Basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah, so it's like Sweet 16, and the entire crew was already at the bar. They were there from like 12 o'clock in the morning
to save a
spot. Like, yeah, saving spots. So like we were all swamping off. That's like cool. Spots. So like we were like, oh, I got class right now. Switch with me. Come over to the bar. Stay there for an hour. Oh, I gotta go to class, and then we switch. So like we would just stay at that bar and we were swapping spots basically. So by the time like nighttime came, when the game was gonna happen, me and Lix were the only people left, and we were at the lunchbox, and we were like,
"This is the bar? Lunchbox?"
No, the lunchbox is our house. That's what we used to call it. The lunchbox.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
So we used to call it the lunchbox because we were a bunch of fat boys and we just loved to eat. So we were both like, yo, we don't want to spend like a crap ton of money over here.
Yeah.
So we're like, what if we play a game? And this is when Lick barely had started drinking. So he was like getting into like these games and stuff.
Yeah, you guys changed Licks because the Licks I know is like quiet. Like he was always like, he would never drink because he was always trying like new things. I was like learning how to play piano and then guitar.
He's still doing that. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude. He's
still in jiu-jitsu. He's flying helicopters. I would not fuck with that guy.
Yeah, he did a fucking an MMA tournament and won.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like this guy's. I'm definitely gonna get him. He's on my guest list, dude, for sure. That guy's insane. But yeah, dude, he's the what is it? Heineken, the Heineken dude, the world's most interesting. Or
yeah, Dos Equis the world's most interesting man.
That's him, dude.
Yeah, that's literally him.
Yeah. So
and so crazy. I remember this night so vividly because we played this game called 8 for 8, and so for 8 minutes, on a minute,
you make out.
Oh, damn! I wish. No, I was kidding. We would take a shot. of tequila. And so we had the bottle set up, his go-to Correlegos, and we had squirt for chasers. But Mama didn't raise no bitch, so I never take chasers with tequila.
I chase it with another beer.
There you go. Yeah. And so we would just, we played the game. We take a shot every minute. But to make it interesting, we started playing music. So we created this playlist called the 8 for 8 playlist.
Oh, nice.
And it's cool. So like it starts off with like, I think like just
it builds.
It builds like.
Oh, fuck,
so
dude.
we have like corrido. We have like corridos on it. We have like Vicente Fernandez. We have Tragos Amargos, and then we have Light It Up from Major Lazer. And then we have like when we get to the second to last shot, it's like Johnny Cash, I Hurt Myself.
Oh, definitely.
So it's like because we're like dying, we're like
yeah,
and we're just singing. And every time we would sing this song, so we would sing the song along with the song, and just take a shot. And finally by the end, we were just like, all right, we're ready to go. So we get to the door, we leave, we head to the bar. But I always imagine like it'd be funny if like, what if we were taking like some shot of like some crazy like special vodka or something crazy, and somehow like transports us to this world. Once we leave the house, we're trying to escape this world and get to the bar on time before it shuts down completely and we can't find any spots to watch the game. So like that's like what my like pitch is basically about. Like just like we're like, all right, we're going to the bar, and then we walk out and like fall into like crazy world with like everything's made out of like random crap, and we have to find our way out of this like crazy world. And then we have like this weird Alice in Wonderland doll chasing us, and like these crazy skull figurines that are dressed up like how SpongeBob dressed up in the Bubble Bowl. Like they're all like in like musician hats, and they're just skull heads, and they're chasing after us, and we have to escape. And then like somehow like we meet this like red Solo Cup and can talk to us, and his name's like Red Solo Cup. And so like he takes us on this journey through this world trying to escape, and then he sacrifices his life at the end. And at the end, basically Red Solo Cup plays, and we're like, Red, no!
The country song.
Yeah, the country song. And we just say bye to him, and we make it to the bar basically, and like make it to the game in time.
Dude, that reminds me. Remember, kids, don't do drugs, because this sounds like a drug trip. Like, dude, like that sounds like a dream. Like, you ever have like that moment where you're telling someone your dream and someone walks in, they're like, "That actually happened," because they missed the part where it was a dream. Oh. That's what this is. Like, if someone walked in, they'd be like, "That really happened?" You're like, "Oh no, that was just in my dream."
Yeah. Well, and the crazy thing is like I don't do drugs. I
like that idea though,
because I have such a crazy ass imagination that like I don't even know what my imagination would do. Like,
you'd
if I was on drugs.
I'd
probably freak out.
Yeah,
because like I'm already like coming up with crazy stuff. Like, I mean,
just sober,
like all my drawing. Yeah, sober. Like this isn't even like me drunk. It's just like
I can't wait to get into this.
Just like I just do it sober.
Yeah.
So like and like I'll have dreams, and like it's crazy because I'll have dreams and I'll write them down because they're so vivid, and I can see it shot for shot like in a movie.
Yeah.
Where I can just write down what's going on and then draw it out.
There was a time in my life where like I had a dream journal next to my bed.
Oh, really?
Because I thought I had the craziest dreams ever.
Oh, okay.
So there was times where I'd have a crazy dream, and halfway through I'd wake up. And they say whenever you wake up, as soon as you wake up from a dream, you remember it.
Yeah.
Because it's so fresh in your mind.
You gotta write it
so
down
I would write it down, and the next morning I'd wake up and be like, "What the fuck is this?" Like because obviously you only write like, guy, red wig, party.
Guy, red wig.
Yeah, like you just write like the
bare minimum.
Yeah, and then you read and you're like, and because my idea was I wanted to make skits of my dreams.
Oh,
but
that's cool.
But in the morning I'd wake up and be like, I don't know what this is. I was like, I'll try again tonight.
Try again the other night. That's funny.
But no, I like that idea. You should probably do something with that.
Well, it's true too because like you said, dream journal. It's weird because like I'll have dreams. I'm like, I'll remember this when I wake up in 2 hours, and I'll wake up like, God damn it! I wish I would have written that down.
Or you remember like a small portion of it, and
then
then you like, okay, what is it? What is it? And then you can see it slowly fading away. You're like, and you're like, whatever.
I'm over it.
Yeah. All right. So let's fast forward now to UCLA. How was your first day? Please explain your first day.
So my first day I had to do TA training.
First off, sorry. You're not living in dorms.
No. I'm living off campus.
Yeah, because you're a grown ass man now.
Yeah, I'm a grown ass graduate. Yeah. I'm living in dorms.
I'm just kidding.
Hell.
Dude, I'd live in dorms all my life if I could. I love the atmosphere.
I do too, but it's like after living in a house,
it gets old.
It's like
when you
live in an actual house, you're just like, okay, now I see why people like.
Yeah, if you go back, then you'll be like, no, more freedom. Or,
exactly.
But
my own kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kitchen is a big thing. So fast forward to UCLA, first day, classes. What was it like?
Yeah, so first day was super cool. I'm very privileged and have the opportunity to work with a lot of really talented individuals in the program.
I see that, yeah.
So like a lot of these kids that are with not even just the animation program, you have directors, you have screenwriters, you have producers, you have what else do they have? Screenwriters, producers, directors, animators. I think those are the 4. I don't know if I'm missing another. I feel like I'm missing another one. But like within each track, there's like different groups.
Yep.
So it's just really cool to like be able to work with all these people that are kind of like-minded with you and want to create like these stories or like just like create like weird worlds or like movies and like shows. It's like it's really cool because like we have kids from like different programs that want to come into our classes, vice versa. We want to go into their classes. So like this past quarter, I got to work with a screenwriter, or he's a writer for animation. His name's Bob Skur, and he actually wrote and pitched X-Men Evolution.
Oh.
So if you don't remember that show back in the 2000s, it was like after the original X-Men was made, and then they did X-Men Evolution.
It was a show?
Yeah, it was a show.
Oh.
So he pitched that show, and he basically wrote for Batman, the animated series. He writes for a lot of like kids shows now, but like before, like when he was like in the shit of it, he was like writing all these cool like stories for Batman, X-Men, Transformers, like 90s stuff. So it was really cool. So he got to be our teacher, and like he taught us how to write, basically how to write for television animation. So like it was cool. I got to like write a fake episode of like the regular show, and that was like super fun. So like
so badass.
but it's cool because that like script that I wrote was basically like came from one of my adventures with like Oscar and all them and Alex. So it was just one of those adventures, but I just switched and put like these characters in, like Mordecai and Rigby in it. Yeah. So that's really cool. And then like you have screenwriters that are screenwriters and directors that want to come into the animation classes so they can learn how to animate. Because a lot like it's crazy now because we have a lot of with Netflix and streaming, like we see that there's a bigger growth in like adult animation. Yeah. Like shows that just aren't for kids. It's like we want to see like Castlevania. Like if I don't know if you ever seen the Netflix show Castlevania. Like it's the one about it's based off the game.
Yeah, I have.
But it's all animated. So it's like we get more of these shows starting to create because the kids that watch, the 90s or the 80s shows are now adults, and now they want to create like these shows that are more like for adults, like with adult humor, like Big Mouth, or just like adult
Family
stories,
Guy,
Family Guy, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like stuff that we grown up off of, but now we have more of the technology and the ability to like create stuff like that. So I think that's really cool when you're able to work with individuals like that.
Damn, that's so cool. Yeah, I just from following on Instagram. By the way, what's your Instagram? So I can throw that in real quick.
At Big Bavo. Bavo with 2 V's. V's, not B's.
What's Bavo?
Turkey.
Turkey?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. Why Big Bavo? Little side note. What is this?
So one of my good friends, Oscar, back in high school, he'd always make fun of me because I was really heavy up top, but I've always had like little chicken legs. Oh. So it was Thanksgiving. He was like, dude, you know what you remind me of? You remind me of a pavo, a turkey. Big old upper body, tiny little legs. And I was like, at first I was like, you know what? You like like really? Yeah. But then it like grew on me, and now it's just become like what I use, like the Big Bavo. It's like kind of like my like name.
I like that. Yeah, I asked Ida, I was like, what's Bavo? She's like, I think it's. She's like, oh no, she was like, it's turkey. I was like,
it's like slang for turkey.
Oh, okay.
Because Bavo's like actually like guacalote, which is like totally.
Dude, you're so Mexican.
Not
even. It's so funny, dude. Like every time I talk to you, you always just throw in like Mexican words. Like you do
I'm
a lot
like
of
the
Spanglish.
whitest bean.
Yeah, you are. Well, you're. Yeah, like I don't know any Spanish at all, but like you just say, and like it's funny because you turn things Mexican. Like you make sure like you roll your R's and stuff. Like if I say I'll say Rosarito, and you'll be like, yeah, we go to Rosarito, El Golfo, and like all that stuff. Well, dude, I'll just say El Golfo, Rosarito.
You know what's funny is that I have a very hard time rolling my R's. So all my cousins and Mex make fun of me because I can't roll my R's.
Dude, I'm the same way. Yeah, I'm the same way. So when I was younger trying to learn Spanish, all my Mexican cousins that spoke Spanish and English would make fun of me. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm over here trying so I could talk
I know,
to you.
right?
And they're making fun of me. I'm like, oh, fuck this. I'm not going to do it then.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm going to head out.
I'm going to head out. Just like Carmen. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah, exactly. So off like your little venture that you're on right now in UCLA, do you have any like idols or like influencers, like someone that's like that you've been following as far as like animation? Maybe you get your style from them.
I mean, it's weird because like because I'm a 90s kid, 2000 to now. Mm-hmm. So there's so much that's been made during those time periods. Even like before, like I love 80s animation too, like the movies. So I think like for me, like big inspiration like is Disney, just because like they're the pinnacle of like animation since like
Pixar and everything.
30s, yeah, Pixar and everything. But you know, that's more like kid animation, and I love kid animation because like when I was little, it just like made me happy.
Yeah.
But you know, obviously like Family Guy, Futurama. Like I'm actually just finishing up Futurama right now again for like the 5th time.
What do you mean?
Like rewatching the entire series.
Oh, watching it. Oh, I never got into that stuff. I could never really get into adult cartoons.
Okay.
I think the fact that I'm watching a cartoon but they're cursing and sex and all this was like really weird.
Off-putting.
Yes. Yeah, and like I mean, you know me, like I'm fucking unfiltered everything. But just that stuff I was like, I don't know if I could watch a cartoon where they're cursing and stuff like it just wasn't my thing. But I would watch a few episodes of like Family Guy. I tried getting into Simpsons. It was just too much. It was way too many episodes. Way too much.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I would watch Futurama late at night because after Cartoon Network and everything, it switched to that.
Yeah,
and like it'd be like dun dun dun,
and
the words
yep.
And I'd be like, fuck it, I'll watch it. You know, so I'd catch a few. But so is that something that would you say like one of your influences, like based off those?
Futurama, Family Guy, South Park, like all those like adult comedy, and then obviously anime has been like a huge impact on me. Yes. Just because I love like the action scenes, like the stories, the shonen type stories, and everything. And I feel like if I were to create something, it'd just be like a combination of all that put together.
Yeah, and just make it your own style.
Yeah,
that's so cool. And I know that's a thing that's like hard to do is to like I was watching, I don't know if you've seen on Netflix, there's a documentary. I don't know, you know Little Peep?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a documentary on him, and they had said that he has this ability to where he can, because you know he's out there, he's outgoing, and he has like tattoos on his face and shit, and he has and a lot of his music is a mix between like My Chemical Romance, and then it's like hip hop and stuff. Well, and he was able to put all that into one and make it his own. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. Is you're able to watch all these shows and anime and stuff and like kids shows and adult cartoons and somehow form that all into one and make it like Mark Sanchez like productions like type stuff. And is that like hard for you to do, or is that just something that came natural?
I feel like it's something very hard for artists in general, just because like we're exposed. Like I remember in high school, like my big guy was like Shepard Fairey. I loved his stuff.
Who's that?
Like he's the guy that did the Obama Hope.
Oh yeah, the red, white, and blue.
Yep, the Obey. He's the owner of Obey.
Oh, that's badass. I love those.
Like I loved all that stuff because I was super into graffiti and stuff. But I think with like art and just like storytelling and stuff like that, it's like being exposed to so many different things and just like learning and just watching or reading and just pulling bits and pieces and just like incorporating and remixing. Like you said with Little Peep, like he like created. I think just in general, like all rap right now is like emo, like My Chemical Romance, punk rock.
Yeah.
Mixed with hip hop now.
It is.
It basically is. So I think it's important for artists is like, you know, don't stop like, you know, trying and practicing and copying, because like copying is obviously how you learn.
Yeah.
But like from copying is like you got to make it your own. You got to like figure out what you like and what you kind of like want to mix. One of my professors always told me it's like within the industry, and this professor I always butted heads with.
Yeah.
Because it was just like I didn't know if he liked my stuff or was just, you know, it was just a problem I always had. It's like in the industry, you're going to find so many people copying. And you can even see, like I always see, it's funny because I always use it as an example for students. You'll see these people on like Instagram or Pinterest or like the internet. They'll be like, oh, this is this, like, I'm going to draw it in this style. And they have like various styles. They have like Fairly Odd Parents, like what's it called? The Simpsons, Family Guy, Big Mouth, and the Boondocks. And they draw a character in each style. And then like, oh, but this is my style. And when you see my style, it literally looks like anime. It always looks like an anime character. Yeah. Or like some variation of an anime character, which is cool. But it's like, you also got to understand that like so many people are doing that and it's already been done. It's like, you got to learn how to find your own voice, which is very hard. Yeah. And I think for me, the one thing that clicked for me is when my professor told me, it's the little details in life and what you see in life that help you create your stories or your characters. Yeah. And then from there, I was like, oh my God, like it clicked automatically. And I was like, okay, I know how I'm going to start drawing my stuff and how to like see it basically. That's
so dope. Yeah. I was actually talking to Eric, which Eric, we all know is part of Orale Collective. Shout out to him. Got his own podcast, Umascene.
Eric.
So definitely check that out, Umascene. But yeah, I was actually talking to him the other day and I was telling him how I do listen to a lot of podcasts, but I try not to because I feel like sometimes subconsciously, I don't know I'm doing it, but I feel like I pull things from what I see and I try so hard not to. Mm-hmm. It's animation hard. Is it the same way? Like you feel you're doing something, you make it and you're like, oh, that's me. And you're like, people see it and they're like, oh yeah, I get this vibe, and you're like, fuck, I was trying not to do that.
Yep.
And you just do it, but you don't do it. You're not copying. You're not, plagiarism.
Yeah.
It just you see you remember seeing something that you liked, and you kind of incorporate it in your drawing, and someone sees it and like, oh, you copied so and so, but that's not what you're doing. You just did it because it's
naturally. Yeah, that's what you want to see. But that's the thing with like even with like storytelling and like animating and stuff. Like you pull from other people because it's like what you think looks good.
Yeah.
For example, we my professor, the one I was telling you about that taught us how to or was writing like a writing class for animation. The first day he asked us, have we watched Jojo Rabbit? And this was like when it was still in theaters, right?
What is it called?
Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, I don't think I've seen it.
It's a really good movie. You should watch it. It's about Nazis.
Sick.
And this guy literally is like, oh, damn, I wish you guys would have watched it because he gave us like scripts from it to like read and like analyze. Oh, sick. And he's like, oh, well, good thing I have a copy. And he literally pulls a copy of this movie that's in theaters right now and puts it in the DVD player, and just huge flex was just like, we're going to watch it in class while everyone else is watching it in the theater.
What the?
Yeah. So we watched it, and it was cool because like I remember seeing a scene, and there's a scene in that movie that's directly pulled from Jurassic Park, the first one. Oh. Like the shot.
Oh, like the camera?
Like the camera shot and everything. And I was like, oh, like this is even like it's even happening in films. Like people are copying other people.
Without even knowing
it. But here's the thing. You got to copy it without making it look the same, if that makes sense. So like it's such a weird concept. Like you got to copy it but remix it where it's like your own.
So it's kind of like I mean, I feel like I do this when I write papers sometimes. Like it's like if you were copy and paste but kind of switch some words around. Or is that plagiarism?
That's kind of plagiarism.
Fuck. I'm plagiarizing.
It's more like taking.
So that's wrong.
So it'd be like taking, for example, like a lot of my drawings, I take inspiration from like anime drawings, but I switch up the environment and I switch up the characters and I switch up what they're doing.
Okay.
And that's with art in general. Like there's a famous artist who I really like because I based a lot of my paintings off of him, Kehinde Wiley. And he does these very super highly realistic Renaissance paintings. Or they're not Renaissance painting, but they're like very hyper realistic paintings of like the Afro community within the United States and within like Latin America.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of their poses and the way they're like looking and like their gestures are derived from Renaissance paintings. So like if you put them next to each other, you'd be like, oh my God, it's literally the Madonna. But he's just doing it with Afro Latinos or Afro Americans, which is really cool because a lot of people are drawn to that. And he actually had the painting over at the Phoenix Art Museum right now, and it's just so beautiful. I love the colors and everything. So and I like color, so it like draws me in real quick.
I can tell with this piece right here.
Yeah,
which is a good segue actually. I want to get into this. So this was all done by you, correct?
Yeah.
If you can't see it on camera, it's fine. I'll put it up.
Yeah.
So bunch of color. First off, how long did this take? Because this is. What is this like? How big is it? This is like a poster almost.
Like 24. Yeah, something like that, give or take.
Yeah.
This probably took me like without breaks and stuff, like 5 hours. So like 20 minutes of planning. I'll like come up with the idea and just like do a bunch of sketches, and then like I'll figure out which one I like the best. And like these sketches suck.
Yeah.
Like they're not thing crazy. They're just lines. But like if I were to show them, you'd be like, what the hell's going on? You wouldn't know. But for me, since I can see it in my head and I know what this line means and what this line means, I know what it is. So I choose which one I like the best. Then basically I sketch it out on a big piece of paper, and then I'll see what I need to do. I'll start inking, and then from inking, if I'm using watercolor, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, depending on the painting.
Yeah.
For this one I did because I like how watercolor just like looks with the sky.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, and the clouds and stuff.
Yeah. So I did that with the sky, and then after I get the watercolor done, I basically start drawing all the coloring all the characters.
And like I was saying before we started this, is I noticed there's a lot of little detail in this. Like, I mean, as far as the license plate down here, and that's, what would you say that was? That was your little...
Wagme?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got a tattoo
Yeah,
on it
yeah.
too?
So, like, me and my bros, like, Licks and all of them, we all have this tattoo on our, like, bicep, except for my homie Julio. He had to be a freaking cholo because he's from L.A., and he got it all in Old English on his ankle.
That's still bad.
Yeah, it's still bad. It's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I was like, bro, you had to get it on your arm. But
Yeah.
it's cool. It's whatever. And basically it stands for, like, we're all going to make it, which is, like, the idea of this drawing, I guess, or all
I
my
like
drawings.
that, dude. I like that. That's dope. And I noticed, what is this? Is that Zions?
Yeah.
The energy drink?
Yeah.
Is that like your guys' thing?
Well, so during college, it was like before Bang and like Rain became a thing.
Oh, Zions? Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
Zions was a
I
thing.
only drank Zions because it was sponsored of the UFC.
Well, that too, but it was because it was like healthier technically.
Oh, I didn't
and
know
it's
that.
like
I didn't know
science.
that.
It's like science. So we were like Zions.
That's so dope. Yeah, and then what is this right here? What is this, Biz?
Yeah, Biz. So we play a game, and we've been playing it since college. Where within our friend group, we're not allowed to say the number
5?
Yeah, we have to say biz, and if we say biz, we have to do like a punishment, and usually the punishment's like a shot.
God damn.
Or even if you have a die and you throw the die and it
it's a
lands
5.
on biz,
Uh-huh.
you have to take a shot. That's like a
Oh.
clear rule.
It's like at hotels, like room 13. Like you just, it's a yeah.
Yeah, it's unspoken rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, there's so much detail in this, like just everything. And I know you said every person in this is a person that's in person in life, in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love this painting. I know Eric did you did his dad's fucking retirement.
Yeah, I did a drawing of his family in Pixie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another one, yeah. And like I said, I look at your pictures and I feel like, honestly, like I'm not trying to like be like an ass-kiss or anything, but I feel like if someone was to show me a picture, I'd be like, yo, did Mark do this? Because you legit have your own style. Like I was telling you, like a lot of your characters give me, I don't know if you remember like back in the day, like WB, Warner Brother cartoons.
Yeah.
Like not Animaniacs, but like there was, what was it, like The Tick, and there
Oh,
was,
The Tick,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like I just get that, like I get that, and I was telling you before, I get like PBS cartoon vibes, so where Dragon Tales and just stuff like that. So I can, like I said, I can see a picture and be like, oh, did Mark do that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And is what is it? Is fucking watercolor? Is that like your go-to?
So I like using Copic markers, but like now that like a Copic marker is like a special type of marker that allows you to do all these crazy colors. Like there's like 365 different colors you can get.
Yeah, okay.
And so I have like all these packs basically because when I became a teacher, I finally had the funding to like pay for like actual good art supplies.
Yeah.
So I was able to like purchase these, thankfully, and that's when I started like honing my skills more. Once I actually had like good material.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the last 2 years while I was here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and what is this right here?
This is
Collection.
like my sketchbook. So this is like something I used to practice techniques, studies. So like the first half of the book is basically like I would sit and like draw people for like, let's see if we can do this. Yeah. Like draw people. So like as fast as I could. So like all these are like usually just one line, nothing else. I wouldn't do like under drawings. It would just be as quick as I could, as fast as I can, just to kind of like understand like how to draw people faster.
Yeah.
And then like progress on. It's just like characters and then just like more drawings. These are old too. And then like studies of like, let me see if I can find it.
These are all like sketches.
Yeah, sketches like of rooms of people, just analyzing. And then like my characters, stories. Let's see. I'm trying to find studies. And like studies of people, like color studies. So like learning how to draw studies. Like that's Licks right there. That's my homie Ryan, Oscar, and then like some other people, family members. And then like drawing feet as fast as I could because feet and hands are some of the hardest things to draw.
I've heard that.
And then just like more character stuff. And then like just analyzing. And then finally like it would get to the point where I would just want to draw environments. So like this one, like it's a side one of like a bar, one of our favorite bars over in Tucson. Fortunately it closed. So it was like a picture of like I was drawing it from like the viewpoint of like the top of the bar. And then like just drawing everybody like doing their things. That's actually my room.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was an apple. Is that an apple?
It is like an apple basket. It's weird.
Oh, okay.
And then like just more stories, like characters. So then like after I did that, I started like focusing more on like my stories. So then I would like go over here. Like the other half of the book are just stories.
God, dude.
And this is not even a good one. I don't even think this one's good.
After this, I'm gonna take pictures of all this, so that it'll just show like slides of all this stuff that we're.
And then just like storyboards. This is one I did of my students over at
This
UofA
is my
High.
favorite right here.
Yeah.
Put it closer to the camera.
Like I said, I'm gonna put it up, so it'll be fine. But
And then like it's progressed. Like this is a story from college. So this is like us escaping the football players because we pissed them off. So we're like running away from the football players, the U of A football players, basically.
there's so much fucking detail in these things.
And then yeah, just continuing, more practice, like just drawing pugs.
Hey.
Just other stories I have to tell. Let's see. This one's one of my favorites. This is like color study. Like, if we can do this one.
This way.
Yeah. So this is like, we talked about frats earlier. So I always had this idea like the frats were coming after us. So like, cause our group was so like just crazy and like we just were off the rail and just didn't care what people thought of us. So like the frats were coming after us. So each one of these individuals represents a frat over at the U of A. And then same thing, just like
storyboard.
Yep, just storyboards, and then like the adventures we'd go on. So like an idea of like when Tucson got flooded because of all the rain. So we'd have
just partying.
Yeah, everyone just partying, having boat rides. This was a really cool one. This one's the same place, the Rec. So it was like all of us just dancing at this country dancing bar.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Dude, this is insane.
And then
we'll
the
just
lunch
take pictures and then we'll put it up.
And then the lunchbox, which is our house. So it's like us at a pregame before we headed out.
Dude, this stuff's insane.
And then here's us with the Gran Pavo, which is like, I always had this idea that like somehow like Jeremy Shockey, who used to be a tight end for the Saints,
yeah.
he like basically becomes like not Voltron, what's his name? Zordon from Power Rangers.
Yeah,
Power Rangers like became like this entity. Like he actually quit football to like become like a Power Ranger basically, and like he's so old now that like he basically is now Zordon. And
Zordon's the face.
Yeah, the face.
Yeah.
So he's our Zordon. And he gave us like this robot to basically combat the evils of like college with it. So like that idea, and then us like playing against. So we always wanted to win an intramural football team football at U of A. So this is like one of the teams that we played was called the 69 Black Knights.
Hey.
And then us is the lunchbox. So this is like the final game. And somehow they always found a way to put football players on the team. So we always had to go up against football players.
Like actual
football players. So it was always like rough. We never won, which sucked, but it was always a great game.
Yeah.
And then this is like, it's funny because you iced me. This is actually an ice off and a cools off. Oh. So like me and my good friend Oscar, it's like, because we used to be really good at both. So I was really good at icing. He was really good at chugging beer. And it's like, we're having like this old like Mexican face-off duel against like these two douchebags, and basically it's like we could see who could finish the ice or the beer first.
This is this is like what's it called when someone's coming at you, like three of you, but
the perspective.
Yeah, like that is so badass. Like you're an amazing artist.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm not trying to kiss ass. Like, dude, this is bad. Like this.
It takes time. I'm 25, so that's the thing. It's like it takes
obviously
time.
It's not overnight, or it's not something you learn like in a year or something. But
yeah,
dude, like just the stuff you have, it blows my mind. And another thing too is, I was gonna say is with all your work, do you plan on doing something with this one day, or is this just like a hidden archives type thing?
These are like stories I would want to pitch eventually for a show. So that's why I'm happy I'm at UCLA, because we have the opportunity to be in front of people from the industry.
Yep.
And get involved with them. They basically, like, my thing is like, I know I gotta work super hard and grind. Like, that's like something that's been a staple in my life. My parents have always been super hardworking. My grandparents have always been super hardworking. And it's just like, I have to keep busy, otherwise I get stir crazy. So I have to be doing something, otherwise it's like I freak out.
Yeah.
So this is like me segueing into all this stuff. So I have like 4 different show ideas, or 5 I think, and they're all written with characters at my house. And like eventually the plan is to like pitch this to like an executive and be like, hey, this is my story. This is why I think it's important. Like, I would like to see this as a show, and just like do like a rough animation and like basically pitch the idea to them.
Yeah.
So that's like the hopeful goal. And maybe one of these days I'll have shows. And the big goal, what I would love to do, is to bring a studio down here and bring opportunity to Yuma.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have so much space here. Like, I think, there's opportunity waiting here.
A lot of talent.
And a lot of hidden talent too, that just they don't have the opportunity to like, go to places, because money's a big thing. LA costs a lot. And luckily I have the support, and I had to take out loans this one time because I didn't get any scholarships, which sucks. But hopefully next year I'll get the scholarships and I'll get in-state tuition. And if that happens, then I won't have to worry about stuff.
Yeah. But what I was actually asking is, like, do you plan on turning your pieces into like an art gallery or something? Because, dude, I'm telling you, a lot of your stuff you have in here, I would love to put on my wall.
Maybe eventually, but I don't really like. I like showing my stuff, but I want to save it to when I get to the point where I'm like, okay, now I can like show it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like years down the road when they have a Netflix documentary on you, and like
maybe even if Netflix is still around, something else has come out.
Yeah, I know, right?
Something takes over.
Yeah. But no, dude, like, I'm telling you, your work is fucking amazing.
Thanks,
and like I said, I'm not kissing ass. It's legit. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm getting just me getting older, but I'm into like art.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as you can tell, like, I love this type of shit. I love especially like this was drawn by
Yeah.
And so like I love that I have talented friends and family members. So it's like, dude, if I could, I'd fill this whole room with just paintings of your shit, Eric stuff, Isaac stuff, like just because I love knowing that this is something like people see like, yo, where can I get that? You can't.
Yeah.
Like, and even if you can, like, oh, my boy got it. Like, I have like that art plug.
Yeah.
And dude, like, it's so cool. And I just see all the stuff you're doing and it blows my mind. So now I want to get into something I saw that was really interesting because you never posted anything about it. I never saw any stories leading up to it. All I see is 1 minute. You're like, I think you had a thing where it said like hair and makeup, and the next thing you know, you're bald, and the next thing you know, you're like in a full-on character. What was that?
So it was really cool. Like I said, because of the school that we're at, we're working with a bunch of different people. Mm-hmm. So I've had the opportunity to work with like my director friends, and like the week prior, my friend came up to me, and he was like, "Hey, yo, you ever think about playing a monster?" I'm like, I thought it would be cool. It seems like a cool idea. He's like, "You want to play a monster for me?" I'm like, dude, like when? Like at first I was like skeptical, but I was like, when? And he like gave me the time. I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm down. So like he sent me the script and I started reading through. I was like, yo, this is sick. So basically I got to play his monster in his short film that he was making over at UCLA. And it's basically like the film is basically the story of like, it's kind of like Freddy Krueger, like the creator of Freddy Krueger, and it's like these nightmares that are happening. And like, it's like it's so hard to explain because it's just like a crazy story.
Yeah.
But basically, I'm playing his monster in that story. And it was really cool because, like, I've never done this before. I, like, never acted. It was more like just me, like, walking around pretending to be, like, a monster. Mm. But it was a really cool experience. So, like, I basically show up, like, on Saturday or Sunday, I think. I think it was a Sunday at, like, 9:30 in the morning. And he's like, all right, here's your hairdresser and everything. So I'm like, this is, like, an actual set. So
it's like legit.
Yeah, it's legit. So, like, and it's crazy because the girl, Sophia, she actually worked on the Black Panther. So she did like the Black Panther's prosthetics for his chest. And then he worked on Aquaman. So she's worked with Jason Momoa and everything. And actually, I think that commercial that we saw in...
Where he's all skinny?
Yeah, when he's all skinny. She did the bald cap for that.
What?
Yeah, so she was like, oh yeah, your hair... Like, because I used to have long hair before I cut it like this. And she was like, oh my God, if you would have had your long hair, it would have taken so much longer because it took me forever when I was doing Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah,
and now because his hair is just as long as, or was just, I think my hair was just as long as his, or maybe just a little bit shorter.
But his like nappy. It's like
his like super thick and like nappy. Mine's that's very silky and thin. So luckily I didn't have that. So she like hooked it up, put the cap on. And it was so funny because like I remember just sending out Snapchats. It's just like me and his bald head and then just like my mustache.
Yeah.
So I remember you messaging me and you were like, "Bro, you look like Dr. Eggman."
Yeah, he looked like the evil character from fucking Sonic.
Yeah, Dr. Eggman. Yeah. So I was like, and I love that because it was so funny because like Jim Carrey did that whole thing and he had his mustache. Yeah. So that was super cool.
And they let you keep the facial hair?
Yeah. So because we had a mask, so like the character had a mask that went over his face. So I got to keep it. I got to keep my mustache and everything.
You did like a Bane thing, sort of, huh?
Kinda like a Bane. It was like a Mortal Kombat mask mixed with a bunch of other stuff.
Like Sub-Zero.
Yeah, like Sub-Zero. So like our costumer, she like sanded it down, did all this stuff to make it look crazy. And then Sophie, she just basically like messed my face up. She like made it look like I just got like out of a fire basically. Or like it's just like scar tissue.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. And then I had like, what's it called?
You had contacts,
Yeah,
right?
contacts, like white contacts in. So like at first they told me like, you're not going to be able to see anything. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm not going to be able to see anything and walk. So I was like prepared. Mentally, I was prepared. I was going to have someone carry me or like walk me around.
To set and everything.
To set and everything. Which Sophie still did, which is crazy because like it's like part of her like hairdressers and everybody like do like the makeup people. Like they walk their like characters. Like they have to. It's like in like the bylaw of like film and stuff and like the industry. So like she would walk me everywhere, even though I could actually see. So I ended up finding out when I put in the contacts, like, oh, yo, I can see. It's like tinted, but I can see. Oh, she's like, no. I still have to be with you wherever you go. I'm like, oh, okay. So like she would take me downstairs, back upstairs. She'd get me water and all this stuff. It was really cool. It was like, it's weird. Like people come like, you need water? I'm like, yeah, I guess I need water. So I just drink water. Yeah. And then it was funny actually because like I've never put in contacts, and like I told him, so supposedly I told him I did. Mm-hmm. So like we were on a schedule, like we were like 10 minutes late to do like the shooting.
And you couldn't get the contact in.
Oh, I was like, okay, you ready to put your contacts in? I was like, I've never put in contacts, and they're like, you never put in contacts? And I'm just like, yeah, and like, okay. Sophie comes up to me, and she's like, I need you to tell me right now in front of all these people, I can put your contacts in. I'm like, you can put my contacts in. It's like, I can put your contacts in. you can put my contacts in. She's like, all right, that's all I need. And she just like puts them in. I'm just like, oh my. I'm like, oh shit, this is badass. I've never had contacts before. And so I just have these white contacts, and I literally look like this crazy like character from like Mortal Kombat or like some just crazy like fighting like game.
Yeah.
Which was super cool. And like the costumer, she like gave me like this huge trench coat. I looked like, it was cool. It was really cool. And I got this giant old knife. So like it was just like this giant old badass knife. And I couldn't hold it on set. They'd be like, monster on set, and they'd be like, knife on set, and like they bring the knife to me, and then I'd be like pretending to stab or like pretend to do my like walk with the knife and everything, which was really cool. It was a lot of fun. Dude, and it took like 2 hours to do makeup too.
Yeah.
So it's a process. Like when you see all these like characters on like Marvel movies or like just, you know, movies with like crazy characters, like it takes time to do all their makeup and stuff.
Oh,
like I was thinking like Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yondu, the blue guy. Mm-hmm. Like I give respect to those guys because they literally have to sit there forever and just get their makeup done. I
can imagine like getting your whole outfit done and then be like, I gotta go pee.
Oh yeah, no, like, that literally happens. They literally happens. That's how I was. I was like, because I was drinking so much water, and I was like, shit, I gotta piss. I'm like, can I go upstairs real quick? I was like, okay, yeah, come on. And they're like, I gotta go with you though. I'm like, oh.
At the end, I feel like Mark was just like, yo, you trying to like hook up? Like, what is this?
No,
she's like, I'm doing my job.
Yeah, I'm doing my job. Yeah. But it was like super. It was just super fun. It was like,
and this
cool
is all
experience.
just for a short.
Yeah, literally. So 2 hours and 30 minutes of makeup, only for like 30 minutes of like
film time. Damn, dude. So like, so everyone like the makeup lady, are these all UCLA students or?
So she's a professional. So she's a professional. Okay. But because in the master's program, we get like funding through the school, like we get donor awards and stuff depending on like our story and everything. Yeah. So people will like get funding to do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So like my director, Justin Garza, he got the money and the funding to like go all out. So he basically like went to different sets. We went to the basement of UCLA's of our building basically, which I've never been to the basement, which is like it's crazy nuts. The way he had it set up, there was like red lights everywhere. It was pitch black. I was scared. I was like, oh, like if I was down here at night, I'd be shitting my pants.
You're like, where are you taking me?
Yeah, literally. I was like, where am I going? So it was a really cool experience just to be able to do that. And it's crazy because like you do different things and like other people start asking you like now, thankfully, or it's really cool. One of the other directors that was on that film, she was, I think, sound. I'm going to be working with her this quarter on doing like her opening for like her YouTube series pitch. Yeah. So it's like little things like that because you meet people, you get to network, and they see your stuff and like, oh, this guy's cool. Like, I like his stuff. Like, yo, can you do this for me? Or like, can you work with me if you have time? Yeah. And thankfully, I'll have enough time this quarter just because I grinded my film, like, because I knew my film was gonna be super long. I like started in late November, and I'm almost done with my first year film, and it's like about 8 minutes long. Mm-hmm. Like, I had to do maybe like over 3,000 drawings for it. Yeah. But a lot of the drawings I can cycle.
Was it that stop animation you did?
No. So it's the 2D animation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the one about me teaching. So it's really cool. So like, what I love about being a storyteller, if you've experienced stuff and you've had the opportunity to just like, you know, live life, you know, just go through crazy stuff, like being able to teach, being able to do all the stuff I've been able to do, thankfully. Like, as a teacher, I got so many stories from my kids and just dealing with them.
And you input them in your art and everything.
Yeah. So I was like, why not create my first year film about a guy teaching high school world history?
And dealing with different characters.
And just dealing with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it's really cool because, like, I actually came back and I got to have my students voice their characters. So now, like, my students are part of a film that they, you know, get to laugh at themselves and the jokes. Yeah.
That's cool, man. And it's cool that, like, from what I see, like, you know, obviously you're going places. You're going to UCLA. You're up in, like, LA. Like, you're, like, in the mecca of, like, film and everything, production and art and everything. And so it's cool that you're able to bring all that back to Yuma and put, like, kids that, you know, like, I honestly, if I was in high school and I had a teacher that did that, like, that'd be dope. Like, knowing that my voice, you know, I would love to be, like, a voice character or, like, on a movie or something. That was the coolest thing ever. Mm-hmm. And knowing that at a young age, I was able to do that just because of some cool teacher I had, you know, 1 year. Like, you're just, and I think doing that, you're opening these kids' eyes to, like, oh, Mr. Sanchez did that. He's from Yuma, like, just like me. You know, he's just the average Joe. And look where he's at. Like, if he can do it, you know, why can't I? And I think you open up, different doorways for these people. And like for you, it just might be cool because you want to incorporate your students into your art, but at the same time, you're doing more than that. A lot of these kids are like, I want to do that too. Like a lot of them are probably in high school right now that are like, I don't know what I want to do. And then they met you and they see the path you went and they're like, I want to do what Mr. Sanchez does. And so like even if whether you know it or not, you're like changing people's lives. And it's like, it's cool that you can give back to the community, especially Yuma with it being so small.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of people are going to like know Mr. Sanchez as, the guy that changed my life, or the guy that, when they graduate, they're like, I think, I give a lot to Mr. Sanchez. So, all right, man. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, but hey, this guy gave me a chance. He let me put his name on my show, and I hope I didn't tarnish it. I hope.
No, you're good.
I hope I helped out a little.
You're totally fine. That ice got me a little bit, but we're good.
Hey, we'll put a like a soda can or something over it while you're drinking it.
Like the koozies.
Yeah. But yeah, dude. So everything you're doing, I love it. I only wish you the best from here on out.
Thank you, my guy.
I'm glad I can call you a friend. Are you my friend?
Yeah, we've been homies since like that one night that we just started hanging out with each other.
I know, right? But yeah, dude, I love that you're so, I just knowing that I have so many people that are artistic and stuff. You're autistic and artistic, but
both. And ADHD.
Yeah. But I love knowing that, and it's cool to be around like so many interesting people. And before we go, do you have any words of wisdom for the younger youth? Anyone trying to like do something you're doing? Do you have any tips and tricks for them? Little shortcuts, something?
I guess it's funny because I'm steal stuff that I got from my like the guy I look up to because I got to interview him. I guess the one thing I could say is just be patient.
Yeah.
Like I'm 25 and I'm like finally got to where I want to get to, but I know it's gonna take a lot more, like work and effort because like there's so many people out there trying to do the same thing that you're doing, and it's just like the one thing with art. I mean, even with like anything, like I remember playing sports, and this is what I really enjoyed from playing football from my coaches, like Coach Arviso, Coach Patney, all my coaches that taught me, Coach Pavey, Coach Fritz. It's like there's always going to be someone better than you. You just got to keep pushing yourself and practicing to be better than them. Because you could have all the talent in the world, because I've seen some people with amazing talent.
And do nothing with it.
And they just do nothing with it because it's just you have talent, so why are you going to work?
Yeah.
And that's like with artists, it's like the thing with artists is that we have so many different ideas and so many different things that we want to do. But it's like, because we want to do so much, we're like, I will put it off and wait till later. And like one thing I've learned is like, you just got to like dive into it and just go, grind. Like when I was here for 2 years before getting into UCLA, and I didn't get into UCLA right away. I was put on the deferred wait list. So I was waitlisted.
You're like backup?
Yeah, backup basically. Yeah. And then they sent me an email in June. I was like, you know what? If I didn't get in, I was like, okay, that shows that I need to work more time on my craft, perfecting my techniques, perfecting my coloring, perfecting everything that I need to do to basically get into that school.
So it wasn't like they put you on that list and you're like, fuck it, like I'm done. Like,
yeah.
You didn't hit a wall.
No, I didn't hit a wall. I was like,
you know, obstacle and you got over.
For me, it was more like, okay, I'm on the deferred list. If I don't get in by the end of August, that means this is more time for me to stay here in Yuma, work with the students and kids here, and work on myself.
Hone your craft.
Hone my craft.
Yeah.
So every day after school, even when I was teaching, I would go straight home after like being there from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 at night. If I was doing football, and I just draw for like 3 hours or paint or color.
Yeah.
And I just do that all night and then go do that literally the same routine every day. Just never take a day off. I like one of my favorite one of my favorite rappers, Kanye West. He has a song, I think it's Spaceship, and he talks about like, he would stay during the summers when everyone else is like having fun going on vacation. He would spend every weekend and every day in his little like room making beats for 3 hours, 5 hours, no matter what. Yeah. Just in there doing it until he finally like, he would do it so much until like how he says his spaceship would take off. And that's the same thing with like anyone trying to perfect anything. It's just there's got to be people, there's got to be times where you're like, I'm not good, like this is terrible. But it's like knowing that you can get better and not giving up is a big thing. So it's just, grind, work hard, just push yourself. Even like when you face something and you're just like, oh, I'm never gonna make it.
Yeah.
You just can't give up because it's the people who give up that don't really want it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. That's what makes the difference between people.
So it's kind of like how you act in that like around that time whenever like everything doesn't go the way it's planned.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that moment. It's like, okay, you can either say fuck this, I'm done,
Mm-hmm.
and just go back home and go do a normal job.
Yep.
Or you can say, all right, so whatever I did wasn't good enough, so I got to work on that.
Yep.
And to be better. And
Exactly.
so yeah, and I like that. I like that people hit a certain time in their lives where they have that option. It's like that 2-lane road or that 2-way road. It's like, okay, I've hit this dead end. I can either go back
Mm-hmm.
or take this time off that I, maybe got denied from a certain
opportunity or
opportunity.
job.
Yeah. And instead of seeing it as like, fuck, I'm not good enough, it's more of like, okay, like I just need, this is more time for me to, get better at it. And so obviously you've hit those in your lifetime. So I guess, hey kids, if it's going to happen.
Yeah. And I think it's good that it happens because it builds character, and these trials that people face, it's like, that's who determines, like I said, who's going to make it or
Who really
wants it, basically. Yeah. It's like, do you really want this? Where you can like, I remember a professor of mine, he told me, he wasn't never an actual professor of mine, but he was one of my good friends' dads who happens to be a professor at the University of Arizona. And I remember telling him, oh yeah, like he had met me like 3 years ago when we were studying abroad in Italy. And he actually remembered me. He was like, hey, so how is everything going? He's like, oh, it's awesome. He's like, asked me, are you still pursuing animation? I'm like, yeah, I just applied to UCLA. He's like, did you apply to anywhere else? I was like, no, just to UCLA. He's like, oh, like you didn't think about applying anywhere else? I was like, no, I knew that this is the school I wanted to get into.
Yeah.
And he's like,
there was no plan B.
There was no plan B, basically. And he told me, well, you know that in the industry that you're trying to go into, a lot of times you don't get into where you want to be right away. Are you willing to like, be lonely for a while? Like basically not having like a girlfriend or having a family for a bit. I'm like, yeah, I don't mind that. He's like, are you willing to like live out of your car for a little bit? Been there, done that already. So it's like, it's just like you're going to face things and you're going to have to go through it. But that's what makes you a better person. And I know a lot of my students and a lot of the kids that I've worked here, even at the juvenile detention system, you have already gone through so much that so many other kids in the world, or in America in general, especially like kids that come from more wealthy, more privileged, have not gone through. Mm-hmm. So if you can get to those places and you have to confront situations like that, you're already one step ahead because you already know how to deal with it compared to people that have never dealt with it in their life before.
That is true. Yeah. Well, yeah, man. I mean, thanks again. Like I said, I really hope, I'll pray and everything for you, but like, you're on your way, definitely.
Hope, we'll see.
Yeah. And I just, I can't wait to see what other, adventures you get going on. Definitely going to have you on later on down the road and just kind of do like a flashback, be like, yo, where you at now? Mm-hmm. So definitely stay in contact with me.
Oh, of course, dude. I got you, my guy.
Thanks, Dan. Again,
thank you for having me.
This is Mark Gonzalez.
Mark Sanchez.
The
hell?
Who's Mark?
The hell?
Way too many drinks. I just did like the one thing you should never do in an interview is get the name wrong. Mark Gonzalez. I think he's a quarterback for the Jets.
No, that's Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez. I still got that wrong. Oh. All right. Well, thanks again, Mr. Sanchez.
Oh, God.
I hope everything goes well for you. And that's it. I don't know what else you guys want from me.